Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. I am back. I took a week off from giving you the news. I had to collect all this information. We had a busy Royal Rumble week. I had Tru Heel Heat 61 on our YouTube channel. You can check that out. It's up right now. And I am back with the 3 count with SP3 for January 28th, 2020. I hope all of you had a great Royal Rumble weekend. You enjoyed Monday Night Raw in Houston, Texas, and I am here to drop all the news coming out of Royal Rumble weekend onto you right now. On this 3 count with SP3, we're going to be talking about the highly anticipated return that happened at the Royal Rumble, as well as details concerning a Hall of Famer who made his return at the Royal Rumble. We're going to talk about that on the 1st count. Our 2nd count, we're going to be talking about all the news and notes coming out of Royal Rumble weekend. That means the original plans, injuries coming out of the Royal Rumble, and matches that are already penciled in for WrestleMania. And then finally, we're going to have a few notes on New Japan Pro Wrestling New Beginning USA tour, including a very sad illness to one of the top stars for New Japan. So for our 1st count, we're going to be talking about the Rated R Superstar Edge, one of my all-time favorite WWE superstars. He was a part of the 2012 Hall of Fame class for WWE after he retired from the ring after WrestleMania 27 in 2011. Edge made his highly anticipated return at the 2020 Royal Rumble at the number 21 spot. This comes after weeks and months of speculation concerning Edge. The report came out, I would say about 4 months ago, that Edge had been cleared to wrestle and compete once again for the WWE. Edge, of course, did what most wrestling superstars do when they're either about to get signed or return. He went into denial mode. He denied a lot of the reports online. It was revealed Edge's denials were him trying to maintain secrecy on his surprise return. According to the report from PW Insider, who had a lot of backstage details in regards to the return of the Rated R Superstar Edge, it says that Edge was flown into Houston, Texas earlier in the morning of Royal Rumble on Sunday via a private jet to maintain secrecy of his return. He then was hidden until it was time for his ring entrance. Edge entered, like I said before, the Royal Rumble at the number 21 spot, and it was his first match in 9 years. 9 long years since he defeated Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania 27 to defend the World Heavyweight Championship. Edge then retired from the ring 8 days later on Monday Night Raw. Additionally, the report notes that Edge will work some special events in the future. So I would help to say that means like the Royal Rumble, it means WrestleMania, it means Edge, the Rated R Superstar, is about to get some sweet Saudi money. Oh yeah, he's got a big event next month, the end of February 27th to be exact, WWE Super Showdown, or as I like to call it, Sweet Saudi Money 5. Yes, Sweet Saudi Money 5. Edge is gonna be, he can compete. He can make that sweet Saudi money, make $1 million for one match in front of people who barely care. It's funny. Anyway, additionally, like you said, he's going to work special events. He will likely not be wrestling on a week-to-week basis. Based on their report, it sounds like Edge will be able to work and wrestle on a part-time basis. It goes back to even the report from April of 2011, when it said it was determined that Edge would never be cleared to compete again, and thus he is forced to retire. It came out through WrestleVotes, I believe, 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, that Edge recently signed a new 3-year contract for significant money. There were previous reports that Edge signing a new deal late last year, and those talks have been made official. There's also a note that came out that Edge talked to and was in talks with All Elite Wrestling. Tony Khan and All Elite Wrestling had talks with Edge, and they even made an offer to the Rated R superstar. But in lieu of Ed signing his 3-year deal with WWE, a lot of people seen the talks and the offer from AEW as Edge leveraging the WWE into giving him his new deal. A lot of people said that Vince McMahon was very hesitant to clear Edge to wrestle, to give him the clearance, even though doctors had cleared him to wrestle, and that Edge used the AEW talks and the contract offer to leverage Vince into clearing him to compete. Thus why Edge was able to return at the 2020 Royal Rumble. Like I said, it was back in October that it was reported by PW Insider that Edge was going to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for WWE business. This was Dr. Joseph Maroon, the man that diagnosed Edge for his severe neck paralysis that caused him to retire. He finally gave him clearance after 9 years to wrestle and compete once again. Edge had a great performance in the Royal Rumble, other than an incident that we will talk about in our second count, and very interesting, he set up a possible WrestleMania match, and we'll also get into that in our second count. But I just want to say, Edge, is very happy to see you back. I don't think any of us, if you told us, any of us 3 years ago, that both Daniel Bryan and Edge would return in the next 2 years, I think a lot of us would call you a liar, but it's very happy times as professional wrestling fans that Edge is back in the WWE and able to compete and do what he loves once again. For our second count, we got to talk about all the news and notes coming out of the Royal Rumble 2020. In my opinion, a very good show. A very good show from the Royal Rumble. It had its low points and not so spectacular matches like Bayley versus Lacey Evans, which I really wasn't interested in. It had the very long drawn out match between King Corbin and Roman Reigns, but it had a lot of very good matches. Becky Lynch versus Asuka was very good. It had the best Fiend match as the Fiend went one-on-one with Daniel Bryan in a strap match, and both Royal Rumbles were good to very good. I feel like the men's Royal Rumble was the better of the two Rumbles, but both Rumbles had pretty good pacing, pretty good spots, and stories to tell. The women's Royal Rumble was a story of Bianca Belair and her dominance in the beginning of the Royal Rumble. Charlotte Flair kind of being the glue in the middle, and then Shayna Baszler with a monster run at the end. But in the end, it was the Queen, Charlotte Flair, getting the victory. In the men's Royal Rumble, it was Brock Lesnar's dominance to begin, tying the elimination mark for the Royal Rumble with 13 eliminations. Then it was Drew McIntyre with his miraculous elimination of the WWE champion Brock Lesnar, and then going on to eliminate, I think, 6 other superstars in lieu to winning the Royal Rumble. A lot of great stories throughout it. You had the Edge return. You had Edge and Orton reunited, rated RKO for a short period of time. You had Seth Rollins and his crew coming in, and Seth getting surrounded by all the baby faces and getting thrown out the ring, and then finally it coming down to Roman and Drew McIntyre after months and months of Drew McIntyre coming up short against Roman Reigns. This was the first time he got his comeuppance on Roman, giving him the Claymore kick, eliminating him to become the winner of the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble. So a couple of news and notes that we got to talk about coming out of the Royal Rumble. So like I said, Charlotte Flair and Drew McIntyre won the Royal Rumble, but they were not the original people that were penciled in to win. Betting odds, as well as WWE Creative, as of a week ago, had the planned winners for the Royal Rumble being Roman Reigns and Shayna Baszler. Instead, the original winners were the people that were penciled in to be the final person eliminated in each Rumble. So it was supposed to be Shayna Baszler eliminating Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns eliminating Drew McIntyre. In the end, they switched things around as Charlotte eliminated Shayna and Drew McIntyre eliminate Roman Reigns. Honestly, in the end, how everything turned out, the crowd reaction and everything like that, I feel like WWE made a great decision on one end and a not so well thought out one on the other end. I feel like Charlotte Flair was always going to win a Royal Rumble, but I feel like this just wasn't the year. I feel like this was Shayna Baszler's time. They had a ready-made story with her getting the victory over both Bayley and Becky Lynch at Survivor Series, and her being the winner of the Royal Rumble created a whole. We could have drawn this out for a few weeks of Shayna deciding does she want to verse Bayley or she want to verse Becky. She beat both of them, so whoever she versus, she feels like she's gonna win the title regardless. But you could have drawn it out for a few weeks. Now it's kind of like, unless you make this into a fatal four-way for both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship, and you throw in Sasha in there and you make it the 4 horsewomen in a fatal four-way for all the gold, I don't really want to see Charlotte versus Becky. I definitely don't want to see Charlotte versus Bayley. It's just like, WWE. Anyway, I don't know. To each his own. But I feel like they really made a great decision as it comes to Drew McIntyre. He got a hell of a reaction, eliminated Brock Lesnar in the middle of the matchup. An even bigger reaction towards the end when he eliminated Roman Reigns. So definitely well-deserved, and definitely the moment where we feel like Drew McIntyre finally became a star. So very happy about that in regards to that. A couple of matches already penciled in for WrestleMania. So Drew McIntyre won the WWE, the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble. He is penciled in to go one-on-one with the Beast Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 36. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns is likely to face Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship. Another match also penciled in for WrestleMania will be the Rated R Superstar Edge going one-on-one with his former tag team partner, Randy Orton. The two reunited, like I said before, as Rated RKO at the Rumble before Edge eliminated his former partner. These are all penciled in, and these are all rumors from my Uncle Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer Radio. So a couple of really cool and interesting notes coming out of there. More notes coming out of the Royal Rumble. A lot of people were getting on whoever the director was for the Royal Rumble, because Edge makes his miraculous return after 9 years, comes into the ring, he gets ready to spear Dolph Ziggler, and the camera cuts to 2 fans cheering in the crowd. That director was none other than Kevin Dunn. You would think this guy who's been doing it for over 25 years would know, don't cut to the fans when the guy gets in the ring after being away from the ring for 9 years. Are you kidding me, Kevin Dunn? Are you kidding me? PW Insider also reports that there were reportedly attempts by WWE to bring in Melina as well as Victoria for the Royal Rumble. Melina, who currently is working with NWA on NWA Power. She was a part of the NWA Power tapings this past weekend in Atlanta, Georgia, while Victoria was on the Chris Jericho Rock and Rager cruise. She took part in a celebrity bowling competition against Wrestling Observer's own Brian Alvarez. So very interesting right there that they tried to get 2 former WWE female legends, and both had prior engagements that stopped them from being a part of the Women's Royal Rumble. Speaking of someone who wasn't a part of the Women's Royal Rumble, but nothing to do with having other plans, the boss, Sasha Banks, was conspicuous by her absence in the female Royal Rumble. She had been dealing with a lot of reports of a mystery injury that had happened to her over the last couple of weeks. It was reported by Fightful.com that Sasha Banks was pulled from the Women's Royal Rumble last night, and her spot was given to Kelly Kelly. A lot of people were questioning this decision, but Fightful reports that the reason Banks was not in the match is that she wasn't medically cleared to wrestle. She had been dealing with apparent ankle injuries over the last couple of weeks. I know they did an angle on WWE SmackDown with Lacey Evans taking out Sasha Banks, and she was favoring her ankle. PW Insider also add to that speculation, and they said that they think that it also was an ankle injury, but nothing has been confirmed as of yet. But very interesting, Sasha Banks missing out on the Women's Royal Rumble. She was in a lot of people's minds one of the favorites to win the Women's Royal Rumble, so it's sad that she didn't get given that opportunity and that it was taken away from her by injury. Speaking of injury, I think the most surprising or most kind kind of questionable injury of the night had to be with the phenomenal AJ Styles. During Edge's return and his Spear Fest in the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble, Edge gave a spear to AJ Styles in a typical AJ Styles mode, trying to put over Edge in his return and the spear even more. He decided to do a backflip bump. During his backflip bump, he caught his shoulder on the way down and apparently had a severe shoulder injury. We don't know the severity of this injury, but it caused AJ Styles to be eliminated from the Men's Royal Rumble a little bit earlier than previously planned. He was supposed to be a part of the whole angle with Edge and Orton reuniting as Rated RKO, and they were supposed to take out all 3 members of the OC from what the reports are saying, but that was prevented. AJ Styles made the audible in the ring and told Edge to eliminate him, and Edge eliminated him from the Royal Rumble kind of without popping circumstances. It was very strange watching it live, but this report with AJ Styles with the shoulder injury definitely causes a lot of concern within the WWE and for professional wrestling fans. So we wish all the best and a healthy recovery for AJ Styles. And finally, we have our third count, where we're going to be talking a little bit about New Japan Pro Wrestling New Beginning USA Tour. They started this past weekend on the 24th as well as 25th. It will continue over the next week and end off on February 1st. That's Saturday in Atlanta, Georgia, as it's going to be FinJuice versus the GOD for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships in the main event. For the first night, they did around 850, 900 attendance. For the second night, that was up a little bit more. They did over 1,000 for their second night of the New Beginning USA Tour, which is very good considering a lot of the circumstances regarding that. Not their top line wrestlers from New Japan are on this tour. A lot of them stayed back in Japan, like Kazuchika Okada, as well as Tetsuya Naito, Jay White, Will Ospreay, among others. Hiromu Takahashi is another big one that had to stay behind in Japan. But this has a great little unit, has a couple of members of the Bullet Club, the Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. I know the Rock and Roll Express was part of the tour as well. But one of the biggest stars of New Japan that was supposed to be a part of this tour was the Golden Star, Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi has been confirmed that he is suffering from a condition called malaria-wise syndrome, which follows Ibushi being pulled from the New Japan Pro Wrestling New Beginning tour in the USA due to the flu. The malaria-wise syndrome involves the boundary between the esophagus and the stomach getting damaged, and the membrane torn vertically and bleeding. Vomiting will cause additional abdominal pressure and more pressure on the membrane, the mucous membrane from the lower esophagus to close the entrance of the stomach. So he's having trouble with his esophagus, he's having trouble with his stomach, the membrane in between is having damage. Ibushi posted an update on his health on his Twitter page, noting that he can't move much and is having hallucinations. Oh man. He also posted a photo of his 40.2 C degree temperature, which is 104.36 Fahrenheit, which is a severe flu. I know anytime you were over 100, you stayed your ass home from school. So Kota Ibushi had to stay his ass in Japan. He couldn't go on the USA tour. So our thoughts are with Kota Ibushi. We hope that he has a speedy recovery from this severe condition. And finally, I have to end off with some very, very somber news. I know a lot of people have been affected. It was January 26, 2020, that one of the biggest sports icons of my generation, Kobe Bryant, passed away due to a helicopter crash. Our thoughts and prayers are with the entire Bryant family. It was not only him, but his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, passed away, as well as her basketball coach, a teammate of the coach, the teammate's parent, and a few others, including the pilot. Our thoughts and prayers and condolences go out to all the families that are affected by this tragedy. me myself, I will admit right here on camera, I got very emotional finding out this news. I am a lifelong Kobe Bryant fan, always will be a Kobe Bryant fan. He is the greatest sports athlete of my generation. He is my favorite sports athlete of my lifetime, and I was very hurt, very emotional. I never got emotional when it comes to a celebrity or someone that I didn't know that well passing away, but this one really hurt and hit me. So I had to just say this at the end, you know, for all you fans out there of Kobe Bryant, for the family of Kobe Bryant, any Laker fans out there, any people who just know of Kobe Bryant and that it affected you emotionally as well. My thoughts and prayers are with you. I hope that you appreciate and tell your loved ones that you love them. Give them a big hug. I know myself over the last 24, 48 hours, I've been telling my girl as well as speaking to her stomach. I have 2 kids on the way, 2 twins on the way. I've been telling them I appreciate them, I love them, and I will take care of them with all my heart. And it makes you really appreciate those close to you when something tragic like this happens. A helicopter crash is never how you want to see a parent as well as a child go away from this world. So it's definitely hit me, but I definitely wanted to say, a note for the first video I'm doing since that happened. So my thoughts and prayers to the the Bryant family, to any other families affected by this tragedy, all of the fans out there, Laker fans, Kobe fans, basketball fans, wrestling fans. I know you guys mostly are wrestling fans watching this, but if this doesn't hit you emotionally, then you probably are not from my era or my generation. But you have to appreciate someone like Kobe Bryant, who just strived every day to be the greatest at whatever he did, whether it was on the court, off the court. Greatness, striving for greatness like that deserves to be appreciated. So I'm going to appreciate it right here, right now. So that is all for this edition of the 3 Count with SP3. If you enjoyed this video, push that like button. If you are not already a subscriber, push that subscribe button and push the bell to stay notified for all the great content right here on Tru Heel Heat. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been the 3 Count with SP3 for January 28th, 2020. Signing off until next time.